the connoisseur of Captaincy's Corner, Charlie Roberts here, and welcome to the FPL Addicts Game Week 8 podcast. Guys, welcome. And it seems to be for some managers this week, we're hitting into wildcard territory. But for other managers, they're keeping firm with the cards close to their chest. This evening, and for today's edition, I'm brought to you along with the FPL Addicts Reedy in Chris Reed himself. Reedy, from where you are, good morning. It is 52 minutes away from midday.
Morning, matey, or obviously in your case, good evening. Good to be back, fighting fit, after a tough week with COVID. But we march on, don't we? And we get ready to down our tools on a Friday and enjoy the weekends full of action and football.
That is certainly correct, and safe to say it was quite an interesting game week 7. I feel the big winners were solely because of his great heroic performance, Villa's very own Ollie Watkins.
Oh my goodness, what a result. I mean, midday kickoffs sometimes can leave a little bit, sort of flat, and we end up with 0-0s. Certainly not the case on that one, and Villa absolutely smashed Brighton. Ollie Watkins with 3 goals and 2 assists. I mean, if you had him in FPL, you'd have been buzzing, absolutely buzzing.
Without further ado, we go straight into... Apologies, guys. I'm still trying to figure out his figurines at the moment. We'll go straight into our... I think this is the correct one. I can only hope it is. No, that's a women's league. We'll stop sharing on that. But it was massive scores from across the sides. I'm just going to delete both tabs.
We're just going to take you through the game week 7 scores, matey. I mean, obviously we started off with Brighton.
That's correct. I think I've got it. Yeah, I think we should.
Arsenal against Bournemouth. I mean, that's your team. What was your thoughts on that game? And Saka giving out pens like it was Christmas.
Yeah, I think with this game, it was definitely what we needed in terms of a victory, having received a 2-2 draw to Tottenham Hotspur. I think we played a really good brand of football. I think Odegaard really shined too as an option. He's a fantastic alternative to Bukayo Saka. And I think Kai Havertz taking the penalty was the main implication was that he hasn't scored a goal so far.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, I think that's the only way Havertz is going to get a goal right these days, by getting 3 pens off his teammates. But yeah, 4-0. I mean, pretty standard what you'd expect, isn't it? Arsenal against Bournemouth, clean sheet as well, and Ben White with a haul. What about that one then, Chazza?
Yeah, look, I think if you backed him prior to the game, you could probably forecast him getting some sort of return, but to make it a double in both ends of the pitch was really beneficial for his prospects as a fantasy asset. Briefly, touching base on this Villa game, we talked about Watkins already. But another one who will be worth a discussion is Pervis Estepinian, who scored an own goal, -2. Some managers fielding him, some rightly so by the end of it, benching him too, and now he's out until the 4th of November with a muscle injury. A big talking point heading into this coming game week.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of injuries. Obviously, we can go through the injury in a bit. But yeah, I mean, Estupiñán, I think he's not had the best of starts for managers who've picked him in FPL. And Brighton have had a tough set of fixtures, to be honest, to start the season. And they have struggled. They've not done too great. They've beaten Bournemouth. I mean, they've beaten Man United, but that's not hard, is it, this season? They've also beaten Newcastle 3-1, but they've been on the end of a couple of defeats as well. 6-1 to Villa, 3-1 to West Ham. You just never know what you're going to get with Brighton. You see, they're either going to score loads of goals or concede loads, and obviously Villa fancied scoring a few against them this weekend. But yeah, Estupiñán, he's got to be
Matty Cash as well, being another interesting point, scoring 17 points away at Burnley, and now making it back-to-back returns, having got his clean sheet away at Chelsea, to pop him with an assist. Do we feel it's time to bring in the cash instead of credit card saving?
For Estupiñán, it's possibly an option, yeah. I mean, Estupiñán's out for a long term, so if you've got no other fires to put out, then I don't see why not, Chazza. I don't see why not.
That is correct. And
Everton Luton. Oh, we've got a question from Colm already.
Yes, I think I'm still on. I mean, my Wi-Fi is actually horrific at the moment, but we carry on. Ollie Watkins, whole last game week, maybe a captain pick on Maddison or Son in the early fixture is the new way to go. Firstly, good morning to you, Colm, the regular watcher of this, and we really appreciate your support. I'm not sure about Watkins away at Wolves as a captaincy option. I think Maddison or Son is a good shout. However, I feel if you have both Salah and Haaland, you're wasting about £26.5 million of your own budget and still not putting an armband on either of them.
Yeah, I think Chazza, that's what he's getting at. He's saying that after Ollie Watkins got a haul in the early kickoff, right? Spurs play Luton in the early kickoff this week.
That's right.
So he's basically saying you should captain either Maddison or Son. He's not saying captain Watkins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Chazza.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
Another interesting.
Maddison or Son for the captain's armband this week is basically what Colm's saying. And, I couldn't disagree with that. I think a lot of people will look at that option.
Yeah, you can. I agree. Wolves, Man City getting their first defeat of the season and a fantastic free kick by the way from Julian Alvarez. However, with City's tough fixture run coming up, there is good merit in getting rid of him in place of who we just mentioned in Ollie Watkins.
You think?
It's an interesting one with this. And Ruben Diaz scoring an own goal. Walker finishing on the donut. Haaland blank too. Was a surprise to many managers who did put the armband on him. What's your take on City from this game?
I think Wolves really sort of stopped them from getting many chances. City did keeping the ball and whatnot, but that's what they do best, retaining the ball, stopping the opponent from scoring. But if we look at Wolves' goals and so on, it's a bit of a crazy one, to be fair, because they were left. Chan was left with an open goal almost, and Neto had a really good game. They just look really switched on, Wolves, and compact and so on. So, Dawson as well, Craig Dawson with a couple of goal line clearances, unbelievable. He had a terrific game for them. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see normal service from City soon enough, won't we? Back to probably beating teams again. But I thought there was a lot of interesting results this weekend. A lot of results. I mean, obviously we had the Luton Everton game, Carlton Morris. We had Palace beating Man United. The controversial sort of game of Spurs Liverpool. There was so much going on this weekend. It was just a great weekend of football generally, really.
Was Lyle Foster scoring a goal, massive win for Burnley too. I'm sure we wouldn't really look at any of our assets, but would you, from a Claret perspective? I know Charlie Taylor is a decent budget option at 3.9.
Yeah, if you're considering the wild card this week, I think that Taylor potentially would become an option for some people as bench fodder or whatever. But in terms of generally picking Burnley players, I think for the most part of this season, Charlie, that they're going to be getting beat. So me personally, I won't be going there. But as I say, people on a wild card, I can understand why.
Straight into our mini leagues we go, and as the usual Son thing goes, we're going to start from the bottom, and eventually we'll end up here, which is at the top. So Jack, well, he's not pulling out a lot of killers this season on 36 points, and look, he's got flags pretty much everywhere, different colours. That's what I'm impressed about the most. Garnacho is still there. Wilson, in fairness, isn't a bad shout. It's just a bit unlucky. Zinchenko was actually a good pick in hindsight. Son got his goal. So any words about Jack except him eating shit like he usually does?
It's just probably horrible for him to look at. He brought in Wilson, I think. Was it when me and Mikey played the wild card? Was that game week 7? Last week that was. He brought in Wilson. He's not had any luck with him. Botman's obviously then picked up his injury as well. And the Chelsea boys, Gusto being suspended and Chukwuemeka, his injury as well. So, not much joy for Jack. I mean, I have to look and you have to question. I mean, why on earth has he got Garnacho in his FPL squad? I mean, I don't know what to say about Jack, but, you never know. He won it last year. He might come back and we've got a long season ahead of us, but for this week, he's had a shocker.
Over to you, Reedy, where, look, it gets tasty for some players, but not so much with others. Really good picks. Unfortunately, with Estupinian landing on the negatives, but Trippier looks really good, along with Areola. Carlton Morris, great pick. What was your take on your own side?
Yeah, getting tasty, baby. I think Carlton Morris was the saviour of my game week, let's be honest. I mean, Kieran Trippier just doing what he does best, getting double-digit hauls. Loved having him over these last 2 weeks with his 18-point haul and his 12-point haul. Nice clean sheet from Areola, 6 points there. It's what you want from your goalie. And Julian Alvarez, again, returning. He's been fantastic this season, to be fair. He's only blanked twice, I think. So far. So, But Carlton Morris, I mean, he got the return against Everton, the 8-pointer, and, a nice little 2 points against Burnley. Unfortunately, he couldn't get on the score sheet. So, I just managed to, I think, potentially beat the average that week. I think it was 49, so I beat it by 6 points. So, I'll take that, Chazza.
Now, we didn't really forget the bloke who's in 5th, but he hasn't shown up for about 10 months. God knows why. I just want to see if there's anything on here which stands out. Not particularly. Pedro got a cheap assist on the bench. Ward-Prowse, who somehow got a bonus point. Not bad from him. Saliba Trippier during the trick there. From one kitchen to another, Pope's kitchen to the Bell's kitchen, Ollie Walker-Peel did okay in some areas, but I've never heard about him.
I think 56 is a decent enough score considering he's got 3 Luton players. You know what I mean?
That's right. Well, I mean, he's a hatter through and through, and I really like the surname of his 3rd bench player as well. It'll take the award on that one in terms of everyone in the mini league. Let's go to the Rev Mikey now, where he activated his triple captaincy chip on Erling Haaland at home to Fulham. He had a massive lead up the top, and now he doesn't. And it's safe to say there wasn't really a whole lot to celebrate, except for the back to an extent.
Yeah, Rev and Jack basically suffering with the 36 points. Share for Mikey has been okay. He's same situation basically, where he's got double Newcastle injuries. Neto on the bench with the 4 points. I mean, no return from Salah. Midfielders are so tricky. You've got to be really on it this season. And Mikey's he's not gone well this week, unfortunately. I'm sure he'll be back though with a good score this week. And what about you? Yeah. What about yourself, Chaz? How are you getting on?
Well, I was relatively content with how this turned out, but what's occurring next week? Well, it's a different story. However, Johnson with a big 9-pointer between the sticks, I was really impressed about. Share instant impact. thanks to him being a replacement for Ben Chilwell. Bukayo Saka with a goal. I think it's mainly Ollie Watkins. I was about to say Ollie Walker-Peel for a moment, but we've already gone through his team. But star of the show, 3 goals, 2 assists. It's one of the great modern-day all-time performances from a 27-year-old. That's what I was really impressed about. So,
yeah.
It's an okay ranking.
You can't say that's okay, Chaz. I mean, that's more than okay. You've done great there. The Johnston pick. I mean, I want to ask you briefly on that one. Now, Mikey had his doubts this season before he actually wildcarded. I think his keepers were Johnston and Turner. And since he's wildcarded Johnston out, game week 7, it would have been, he got a 9-pointer on the back of the 8-pointer that he got in game week 6. Now, you've benefited from him. He's been brilliant. Is he someone that you think you'll keep long term?
Well, you'll see my team come later, and I'm not going to give out the answer at the moment. But okay. I think he was being cautious to me during the pod a few weeks ago in regard to Johnson Turner. It may be both best to switch him out because of their positions being under threat. However, for me, it would be best to just see what occurs. And by the looks of it, they're still playing. Johnston, I felt on field was a better decision than Turner beforehand because I could see Johnston racking a few save points against Man United's attack.
Yes.
And Forest. But the clean sheet was a bonus. I wasn't really expecting that, if you ask me.
Oh, brilliant pick, mate. Brilliant pick and solid score for the game week, matey.
It is for sure. Just onto other leagues while we are at it too. Once I try and get everything up. This is a women's league we've got on at the moment. It's relatively tight, especially in the top 3. I think the top 4 in Miss Kia has some ground to make up. It's definitely doable with a lot of game weeks to come. But for Anne, rocking the Casbah at the top, 83 points. I think we should probably have a look at this. Has to have Ollie Watkins. Certainly did. Odegaard and Ben White too. That is a stunning team.
Smashed it.
Yeah, I think that's worthy a mention on its own there. And as I slowly transition from one screen to another, we've got the Public League. I think just making sure it's shown. Yes, no, it's not. Onto it here. Look, I'll get there one day. We've got 2 tied up the top with 497 points, which is quite impressive. This 106-point game week. Oh, my hats. And got an overall rank of under 3K. Let's start from the top. Sancho's actually been all right for Chelsea in the last couple of game weeks. Share, White, Cash, brilliant across the board. Odegaard, Saka with return. Of course, had to have Watkins. And Alvarez. That is out of this world. Well played on our podcast, if anything. What's your take on that, Rudy?
I mean, the first 11 on its own is just banging. White, Sanchez, Odegaard, Cher, Saka, Watkins, Alvarez. It's just points on points. I mean, the bench boost is a bit of a shame. He's pretty much ended up with 7, 8, 9. So he's pretty much ended up on 7 points because of the -2 with a Stupinan. So that's not ideal with the bench boost. But, I mean, you can't take anything away from that first 11. It's, absolutely smashed it.
That's right. Just a quick plug for Bonus Bank as well, being Australia and New Zealand's best side hustle. Guaranteed profit from bookmakers by taking advantage of their promotional offers. Easy to learn tutorials, software that does the hard work for you. Free to sign up and earn your first $75, which is also tax-free. You can upgrade to premium membership, which gives you access to more tools and software to increase your profits. Without further ado, we go straight into the preview discussion. I think a first point worth mentioning is on Pervis Estupiñán. He's out for a good few weeks. He dropped in price today. Reedy, what's your plans with him and who are you going to replace him with?
Just throw him out, isn't it? It's got to throw him out.
I think you'd have to now.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm going to hold him for now. I'm not going to lose any value on him. I believe he's currently sat at 5.3, and the reason basically is, in a nutshell, is I made my moves earlier on in the week before all the cup games, European football. Now, rule basically is you don't do that, and information is key and so on. We wait for press conferences, but I just couldn't help myself, Chazza. Just couldn't help myself. So I took out Sven Botman even, and that's why I'm keeping hold of Stupinan. Basically, he's gonna stay in my team till next week, potentially week after. We'll see how much the price drops affect him. And then, I'll probably move him out for a Newcastle defender again. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, going early on the transfers, I've learned from past years, is relatively hasty. Estupiñán, I think it would have gone, and he has gone. I think I've looked into, for my new team, one of Adogi or Cash. I think it's a great opportunity to get on either of them. They've both got brilliant fixtures ahead, to be fair with you. Look, and Saka as well is another interesting one worth mentioning. If you're not on a wild card, is it worth holding on to him, having had 3 goals and 3 assists from his last 6 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a case of priorities, isn't it? On who you want to take out and who you want to keep. I mean, how many transfers you got this week?
For me, I got 2. I think I'd prioritise Estupiñán being one of them, and probably Bulldog too, because it's relatively important to have bench cover at this time of year, especially when you see the shock omissions of Chilwell and Estupiñán a couple of game weeks ago, in which we wouldn't have forecasted. I think Saka is worth to be on field. If you still have him, he's at home to Man City, in which he scored. It would have been in the last 2 home outings against Man City. So, and he does step up in big games. I think that's a key asset to his caliber as a fantasy prospect, and he's an absolute superstar too. He can genuinely score against anyone.
Yeah, I agree. I think this week I made some moves, and obviously there's been injuries since. If Saka does make it against City, will he be 100%? We don't know. But obviously, in terms of his price and so on, he's 8.6 at the minute. Started out at 8.5 when the game got released, and the player prices got released, right? So he's on the edge at the moment. He could end up getting another price drop if he's out for this weekend. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, Saka for now he's probably still a hold for myself.
Straight into game week 8's fixtures, and we've mentioned briefly about Luton Spurs being a real fixture. Is there any other fixture that really stands out to you in terms of fantasy assets?
Well, I think the obvious one staring us in the face, Chazza, is Luton Spurs, isn't it? The first kickoff, lunchtime kickoff. So yeah, I mean, all eyes on them. After managing to get a last-minute goal against ourselves. Son, back in training this week. He's been carrying a sort of bit of a groin injury, apparently, but all seems well from what we've heard from Ange. They've got no midweek football, which is always a bonus, and James Maddison's another one who I'm sure will enter people's sort of plans for that fixture. So yeah, that's the juicy one. That's the one where people will be licking the lips. Can we go against Haaland? Can we captain Son or Maddison or, I don't know, Pedro Porro if you really want? So, yeah, that's a standout, I think. What about yourself?
It's a funny one, this. I am going to go for Bryson Liverpool. but it's not for Brighton's perspective. I actually think Liverpool will be licking their lips in this outing because, one, Brighton are coming off a relatively exhausting 2-2 draw in the Europa League last night. That's no clean sheet. Point number 2 being Europa League. Number 3, Noah Stupinian, who has probably been their best attacker so far this season. He's not going to be there. I know Brighton can play attractive football at home, but with Liverpool having scored in every game, Mo Salah got a very good track record against Brighton. I think this is a really good game for the assets of the Reds for Merseyside, especially for Darwin Núñez. That's if he's still fit. I think another good one I really like as well, briefly, is West Ham Newcastle. I think West Ham attackers could do okay and get something against Newcastle, but I think the Toons, they're looking really unstoppable at the moment.
They are, yeah. I mean, firstly, to touch upon the Brighton-Liverpool game, both played in Europe last night. Both teams have got suspensions or injuries even. So it'll be interesting. I mean, Darwin Núñez played last night. Luis Diaz was benched but came on. We're still looking like we can score goals, not a problem. And it should be a really, really good game between us and Brighton. West Ham Newcastle, I mean, as you say, Chazza, Newcastle absolutely flying, 4-1 win for them in the Champions League against PSG. Unbelievable game. And West Ham are doing solid. Great start to the season. Bowen's doing good. Ward-Prowse. And I think it'd be a really good game, that. Really good game, West Ham Newcastle. Yeah, so we've got a Sunday fixtures looking quite juicy, really.
While I'm at it as well, if you guys have not downloaded the EPL Live app, feel free to do so now. I personally do some weekly articles on here, giving a recap on the game week, players who stood out, which teams hit, who's under the spotlight all of a sudden, and more importantly, which players to avoid, because that's the easiest part. Picking players alone is definitely the hardest part of this game. In addition, I'll give a brief, should we say, preview onto the captaincy corner for the corresponding game week. So if you haven't done so now, download that EPL Live app. And it's not just got my articles too. It's got plenty of videos. It's got some news, even the Champions League as well. A certain amount of time. Without further ado, we get straight back into it. Not this way. We go that way. Into our panel preview, heading into game week 8. Reading while you get...
go on.
Yeah.
Go on, Chazza.
It sounds like I'm going to have to get my team up and see what I have done. Ready, get yours on the spotlight in our armor if you wish. What have we got? Let's bring it on stage. Now we have genuinely wildcarded. That's what we've done. Just want to double check. Yes, we've activated the wildcard. Who would have thought? But this is the side as it looks at the moment. Before I go through all of the picks and my justification, Reedy, welcome to my new gallery. It's a newly formatted. The front line has stayed the same, and that's important, especially if you're part of an army of any sorts. But the rest has gone for a bit of a reshuffle. Turner's somehow there. It's like an elephant getting stuck up on the tree. Don't know how it's got there, but it'll come down eventually.
Turner, oh no, God. Yeah, so far, so good, mate. I'm just looking at your team and thinking they've got a few new additions. Mo Salah, Ollie Watkins is remaining in your team after a 23-point haul, of course. Why wouldn't he? And yeah, I mean, Almiron, Miguel Almiron.
I'm not falling for the trap like last season, baby. I think it's Miggy's season.
Now's the time to jump on him.
I think it is.
Nice. Respect that. But Kyle Walker goes out, Matty Cash in, Shah out, Dan Burn in.
So,
talk me through it, Chazza. What are you excited most about?
I will, of course. So I think there's a big emphasis playing a fifth playing midfielder at the moment because that's where the points are being scored. In addition, there's a lack of clean sheets generally from a lot of Premier League sides this season. So I feel it's best to field with minimum amount of defenders each week. It's good armour there in case I ever need one. I think West Ham have good fixtures coming up, but Areola coming in from Johnston is a penny pincher move, along with Dan Burn coming in for Fabian Schär, and that has sort of enabled my price bracket for that fifth midfielder slot to be a lot more viable. Frontline stays the same. I think Archer against Fulham could really do some damage. I'm not convinced by Fulham defensively, and if Sheffield go on a counter-attack, Archer scores outside the box, whip, wham, bam, shabam. He could get some points there. Son and Madison with their fixture run coming up. Can't really argue with that. Now, Mo Salah is in, and it does come with a cost because of his hefty price tag, along with Erling Haaland, equals taking up 25% of your own team budget. So I have to rotate the captaincy between the two. But the con is that both of them are playing away and both of them play at home on the same week.
Nice.
But I think Haaland can do well. He's, as it stands, got the armband against Arsenal. For Salah, I think that's the thing about me at the moment. And Vladimir Sufal, I mentioned him in my article. He's had an assist in each of his last 3 games. So he got 12 points against Sheffield United, managed an assist against Liverpool, and managed one against Man City.
Yeah. All the stats, mate. You've got all the stats in the in the locker and so on. It's an interesting wildcard team. Have you looked at the option of potentially going no Salah, and you can have like an Odegaard and a Luis Diaz or something like that? I
think it's a really good shout.
Just float out there. No Arsenal players. Are you happy with that?
The only one I really fear based on his ownership is Bukayo Saka. I think Arsenal's fixture run within the next 4 weeks isn't the most ideal, aside from the Sheffield United game at home. Heavily considered bringing in Ward-Prowse or Jared Bowen, but there was a time where I went Bowen and Anderson. That means Anderson goes on the bench, you play 4 there, and then you probably play an extra defender, and I'm not sure I would be inclined to that conclusion just yet.
Yeah. Any money left in the bank with this team?
From what I think it's 0.6.
He's telling me.
0.6.
Oh, you got 0.6, did you say?
Yeah, I got 0.6.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Like it,
so
yeah. It's a nice team, man.
It is
a nice team, yeah. A lot of bench fodder going on there, isn't there? You can always upgrade one of those options.
I think so.
But yeah, I mean, it is a nice wild card. I mean, did you have Julian Alvarez in the team before?
No, I didn't. Probably should have done from the start because he looked a really good asset.
Yeah. But yeah, a couple of comments have come in.
Come on, yeah. You pick out some good ones. It's like nitpicking a roasted pork. It's just shredded off a bone. Give us some, Reedy. What have we got?
So you've got John David. He said no
John
potential.
David, what's up? Now, honestly, John David, I thought that was the same striker that plays for Canada that I see on FIFA 20 sometimes.
Jonathan David, yeah. For Lille.
Yeah. What else we got? I think Gary, and firstly, great to have your company yet again for another week. Presume he's talking about Miguel Almiron, and yes, he did win man of the match. I heard he was a star, and Newcastle just terrorised the Champions League. Did that catch you by surprise?
What?
The Newcastle 4-1 win.
Not really, no, because PSG are toilet, aren't they? I know they've got Mbappe, but it's not the same team that had, when they had the likes of Matuidi, Messi, Neymar, all sorts of, really good players. It's a depleted team, Chazza. But yeah, Colm's come in with a shout for a keeper, for Brentford, saying that Strakosha at Brentford might be a shout soon, as Flecken had not looked that good recently, which I have to agree with, to be honest with you. Flecken has not looked great. Looks like he should be working down an aisle in IKEA.
I was just thinking the same. Do you reckon Strakosha is a piece of IKEA furniture? Just when I first looked at that.
Oh, no. I was talking about Flecken, looking like he works.
I was talking about Strakosha, but the same idea of IKEA.
Yeah, but it's not a bad shout. I think he's 3.9 as well, Strakosha.
3.9. It's all about penny pinches sometimes. Charlie Taylor started his last 3 games at Burnley. He's 3.9. Kabora is 4. And if I'm being honest with Kabora, he's actually looked pretty good for Luton, especially when he tries to attack out right wing.
Yeah, he's been decent.
Got an assist at home to Wolves, which later converted as a penalty scored by Carlton Morris.
You don't fancy a bit of Darwin in the team? Just sell it for now? Is that where you're going?
Darwin Núñez is a really good pick. I haven't really considered it, to be honest, but I really should. It's like me looking at IKEA furniture. I go past the furniture, and after you go past it, that's when you really consider the items. You actually have to go back to the actual piece of furniture instead of just looking at it succinctly.
I don't go IKEA much unless it's for the meatballs or the hot dogs, mate. That's about it for me.
Gary's comment, very interesting one. This, especially for owners that own all 3. Son over 9 mil, Salah 12.5, Haaland 14. When you add all that up, that's over 33% of your budget. Yet he's backing the captain of Son away at Luton, which I know you said earlier in the pod, it's probably the best fixture. 2, but would you not feel it's a bit of a waste of money in the first place if you're captaining someone that's under 10 million over 2 people who are clearly above that?
I don't know. Not necessarily. I think that this season we want to make it a bit interesting. Haaland's not on form at the minute. Salah's obviously looked okay, and people seem to think that Salah's the way to go at the minute. Get him in, especially on wild cards. So, Son captain. I agree with Gary.
Enough of my spotlight. We go straight to your team now, Chris. And what moves have you made? It doesn't look like you wildcarded. Have you wildcarded yet? I don't even remember.
I wildcarded in game week 6. Was it being now?
I definitely missed that episode. I'm very sorry. But hey, Sabozlai just makes a way. He's still there.
He's still going, mate. He's still going. Let me.
It's not because of the name.
Gonna zoom in there. No, so Leno at home this week for me against Sheffield United. He's been racking up the points. A nice little 10, nice little 6. So, yeah, I mean that's the lineup. I've basically brought in Cash for Botman.
Yeah, I like that.
If I'd have waited a bit longer, I'd have done a Stupinan to Cash instead and kept all the Botman on the bench. He is still out, by the way, Botman. He's not playing this weekend. Eddie Howe has confirmed. And, I think Luton fixture for Spurs is great. Trippier's been great lately. So there's the back 3, or back 4 even. I have brought in Maddison for Doku, and I have brought in Son for Rashford. So 2 free transfers with a -4. And then, midfield 3 of Szoboszlai, Mbeumo and Saka, and then Haaland and Alvarez up top. I mean, as I say, I went early on the moves, and the reason I did it was because I didn't want to be priced out. Well, I had the exact money to go Maddison to Doku, so that's why I did it. Obviously, then I found out that, we've got a Stupinan who's out and injured for a month. Saka potentially, he's coming off in the Champions League, who could be injured for the weekend. So, I did go a bit too early, Chazza, but it's a punt, isn't it? Son captain. It's got to be done.
It is.
I think if Saka's not playing this weekend, right, say if he's out.
You get Luton off the bench, which is actually not bad.
Yeah, I get Morris, and, that's it. Yeah. Thoughts?
Can I be honest? Considering your wildcard a couple of weeks back, I think you've done very well getting ahead of the curve. I think a Trippier is a really good instance. That back line especially. I think getting Maddison in for Doku for price rise was a good option. I'd be very curious to know if you knew the Stupinan news.
Yeah.
So what transfers would you have made early on that week if you had your time back again?
It had just been Cash for Stupinan, and then I kept Botman. I'd have held Botman, until he was had come back. That would have been it. And it would have been 2 moves, in fact. It would have been Saka instead of Doku. So I'd have kept Doku and I'd have brought in Maddison for Saka instead. If Saka's out. So wait until this week, till today, till the press conferences. Probably would have been a wise idea with Europe and, Champions League, Europa and other stuff. But I've done it. I did the moves. I made the moves. It is what it is, and we go into the game week. That's how we roll.
I like it, Reedy. I really do. I think if I had Son and Haaland both as your premium options, I'll probably go Son as well. I know 14 million away off a captaincy is a big call. Yeah. I think Haaland would return, but I think Son, you get an exponential chance of him gaining return as opposed to Haaland's probability. We'll get onto probability very shortly. We've got a couple of questions we need to attend to. But first, we go off to the Canadian striker, no pun intended, and Jonathan David. Midfielder right now, Mbumo, Salah, Saka, Neto, and Maddison. Did transfer to Brendan Matty for Rashford. Should I do another free transfer for Odegaard or a -4 for Porro and Son? Your thoughts? So I'm trying to figure out where the Odegaard thing's coming from. It's probably for Saka as a free transfer. I wouldn't bother with that. I think, who would he take out for Heung-min Son trying to bring in? You're better at comprehension than I am.
I mean, he wants. I think John wants to keep Salah by the looks of things. Probably in Burma because United are terrible. Saka, we don't know. We're waiting on the news, and he's already brought in Maddison as well as having Neto. So I think personally, this week, if you really want to chase a little bit, I don't mind the Porro and Son for the -4. To be honest, Porro and Son for the -4, Chazza. I mean, I wouldn't be bringing Odegaard in. I don't think with the free. I feel like Son as striker, if he is still playing as a striker, just feels too juicy against Luton, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think another player that people have gone quiet on this week, and I agree with your point, Richarlison or Kulusevski. I actually reckon those two would do really well in a game such as this.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. And I think that Richarlison is probably a better option over Kulusevski, if anything. His price is more than easily, you can get to more than easy, especially if you've got Saka and you're looking at taking him out. And it's a great shout, Chazza. Great shout.
I think John David just brief running commentary too. So he wants an Arsenal player in for this game, which is fair enough. I think Odegaard is a pretty good option, regardless, even if Saka is in or out. Saka would be a prime option, but Odegaard would be a really good number 2. Straight on to Combs' question. We love a bit of dilemma stuff just to keep the brain ticking on a Friday, like the Sudoku puzzles on the Nintendo 3DS back 15 years ago. Now, looking at Stephen and Saka out for Porro and Maddison this game week, and probably swaps Saka back in for Rashford in a few game weeks for -4. I don't know where this -4 hit's coming from, but if it's just a Stupinian for Porro, Saka for Maddison this game week as free transfers, I'll do the Porro to a Stupinian. Saka to Madders is an interesting one due to the FOMO. I think if you've got really nothing to do and you've got good bench cover, I would do the move. But if you can make do, I would keep Saka for this game. And probably swap Saka back in for Rashford in a few game weeks. Okay. Yeah, very interesting. I think Rashford could do a lot at home to Brentford.
Yeah, you know what you just explained, Chazza, about what Colm should do? It's pretty much what his question says. So that's what he's looking to do. So like you said, you would take out Estupiñán for Porro, right? And you would take out... You're saying you'd hold Saka for now, or you'd take him out?
Can I be honest? I'm really bad at comprehending questions because it's just me asking and answering the exact same thing. So what's the point in me tonight?
Yeah, because you said you should probably and then take Saka out for Rashford in a few weeks, which is what Cole's asking for the -4. So, yeah, I mean, Estupiñán and Saka out for Porro and Maddison this week, and then probably swap Saka back in for Rashford. So what he's saying is take Saka out with a Stupinan this week for Porro and Madison. Good move. Then in a few weeks, whenever that is for Colin, he'll then take out Rashford, who he's going to keep hold of, and bring Saka back in.
Oh, yeah, jeez. I really didn't look at the question properly, didn't I?
Yeah? What do we think?
No.
What do we think?
Yeah, look, that's good. I like the moves.
yeah. Good one.
Jeez, I'm good at making songs, and I actually have one for tonight. Who would have thought? But it's representing on FPL flags. But in terms of answering questions and comprehending them properly, I am seriously good at it. Yes, John, touching base on the Brazilian who likes a good pigeon dance. That's a really good shout. Yeah, I think Richarlison instead of Son isn't too bad. I think you get more out of having Richarlison instead of Madison because I think Son could be a really massive devil's advocate if you don't own him. That is the thing. Just trying to figure out where we are at this rundown. Bonus Bank back onto them. They've launched a free tool this season to help people with their FPL mini leagues. This tool displays the probabilities, the clean sheet for each team, and which player is likely to score. This is useful in determining the best defenses and players to pick, as well as assisting with those captain choices. Clean sheet. Now, I'll give you a hint. I'm not sure if you got the rundown already in front of you, Reedy, but we've talked about one of the players is in the starting 11. He's starting in between the sticks. That is the side who's got the highest chance of keeping a clean sheet. Fulham. At home to Sheffield United. I really would not have picked that, to be fair with you, but looking at it, it's not a bad shout. Number one goal scorer in terms of probability. So Fulham with 41% to keep a clean sheet, 43%. Echuman Son away at Kenilworth Road. I think we've mentioned Luton and the Hatters a lot, so I'm just going to mention their venue and someone who has a backyard attached to the away end. That's bonus bank done. On to captaincy. Now, do you want the Son first, or do you want my actual reasoning behind certain players? So I'll put more time in my Sons.
Yeah.
Instead of the actual.
Go to the song first, Jazza. Get it done. Go on.
Okay, sure. All right. I'm gonna go solo layout. Here we go. All right. So this is the rendition of Yellow by Coldplay. And for some people's favourite, just as Shane Warne. God bless that man. It goes as this. Look at the flags. No stooping for you. And all the hits we took. And they were all yellow. Mo came along, Salah that is, scoring assists for you. Saka's injured too. And his flag's yellow. So Ollie took his turn. 5 goal involvements done. His flag is not yellow. Haaland, Udogie, Kashnetso, Almiron, Areola, Madison, Juno. I love human son. Sufal, Taylor, Turner, Burn. Dun, 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 dun. Right. That was the song.
Oh my God, Chazza. What?
That'd be good on the reels coming. Jeez. I like your laugh there. It reminds me of when I did the Bob Marley song and Rev fell off his chair. Well, at least tried to.
Oh, God. I don't know what to say, Chazza. I mean, you just never fail to surprise me, mate. Never fail to surprise me. Great cover, effort, 10 out of 10. You've put the work in. I'll throw it straight in there with Captaincy Corner, my friend.
Captaincy conversation heading into Game Week 8. does consist of usual suspects, but sometimes it pays off to be different. We saw last week with Carlton Morris scoring 10 points. What about that cheeky away goal at Goodison Park? We've got a couple of points of differences and someone who had an absolute masterclass last Saturday. Mo Salah we start off with. He's at Brighton away, an opponent in which he holds a suitable track record. He has scored 2 goals and 5 assists in his last 6 games. Liverpool have scored in against the Seagulls, and the last time he blanked in games Liverpool scored against Brighton was in 2019, all the way back in November that year. Haaland is away at the Emirates, who's had 4 goal involvements from his 2 league meetings against the Gunners last season. Bukayo Saka is flagged currently, but he has home league outings against the league champions. Adding on, he's had 4 goals and 3 assists in his first 7 matches. To round it off, we talk about the villain himself. Who else? Ollie Watkins, who's now got 4 goals and 6 assists to his name. And Calabunga, thanks to his 23 points, he is the leading fantasy scorer of all players at this moment of the season. Only Sheffield United and Burnley have shipped more goals than Wolves at home thus far, in which that is his opponents come Sunday. That's my captaincy corner. I probably should have done the solo layout there, but that's all in terms of an agenda. Once again, to everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you love today's podcast, make sure you smash that like button. Give it 110% when you smash it as well. Subscribe to our channel. Now, I know I definitely say sometimes, but most of the time I really don't. But that's what makes it so beautiful when you tune in for Game Week 9, which will be in 2 weeks because we've got an international break and we might even do a stock take while we're at it. Keep an eye out on our socials. Who knows? Rev might have a cheeky meme if things go his green arrow way. To you, Reedy, I appreciate it so much. You taking time out of this Friday morning because it's still 11:59 your way for coming onto a pod and just having a good yarn with me. That's what we're all about. So thank you so much, Reedy. Reedy, give us a bit of a curveball wizard type prediction. What do you reckon might happen?
Curveball prediction. I mean, what, as in the scores this week, basically?
Just absolutely anything.
Absolutely anything. Oh my god. Well, I don't think anyone important is gonna die again this season for us to get another wild card. Put it that way.
I thought it was because Aaron Ramsey scored another goal.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know if he's injured at the minute. I don't even know where he is. But yeah, I think curveball for me this weekend, I should say. I am going to say that Brentford and Bournemouth will both win this weekend against Everton and Man United. I think that's my curveball for the weekend. And yeah, that's how I think it'll go. City Arsenal, over to you, because I feel like we've completely missed that one and not even given it a mention. I mean, huge game.
Yeah. Look, I think with this outing, I think it could be a draw, which I think City will love. And for us, it'll be quite frustrating because we need to make the most of our home advantage. And I feel sometimes we don't do that. We have a really good lead and then we just throw it away at an instant. Such instance in the North London derby when Son scored straight after Saka put us 2-1 ahead. Very intrigued to see how Chelsea go away at Burnley, because I know Burnley can score, but I also know that they're relatively average most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea defence this year has been pretty solid, to be fair. I know the league table doesn't reflect that, but it's more been a case of them scoring the goals than keeping the clean sheets, which has been okay. So, I think for Chelsea, they look like they're kind of sort of starting to get there a little bit. They were all right against Fulham. I think Chelsea might be able to sneak that 1-0 against Burnley.
There you go. I'll leave it as that. Reedy, thanks once again. May your arrows be green. And to viewers who've tuned in, thank you very much.
Yeah,